SEC Network analyst Roman Harper is presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Use code NEXTROUND to double your initial deposit bonus when you use code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code NEXTROUND.
I wonder what Brian Kelly meant yesterday when he tweeted this out. All he tweeted was the state of football. Could be a lot of things. All I know is his biggest recruit, the number one quarterback in all of college football and recruiting, was on site in Baton Rouge this past week, and I know Michigan is getting ready to stack up money.
That's the state of football right there, my friend.
That, my friend, is the state of football.
You know what is not right now? The state of Louisiana. I don't think that's what he meant.
Hey, that's an easy sell if you're Brian Kelly. Look, we're going to pay you more money than we were yesterday.
That's right.
But you can tell we need you, and we need you next year.
Oh, that's a sale for Michigan, too. Roman Harper is with us now a day early for Harp. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline, presented each week by MyBookie.ag. What is up, Harp? How are you?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man? I wish I knew what Brian Kelly meant by that, too. What does that mean? I don't know.
Very strange.
Very odd, very odd.
It seems like an excuse, actually. Like if I'm just dissecting myself, the state of college football. Back when times were good, I used to win championships and play for championships, but the state of football now.
Yeah.
Although we're ready to pay a quarterback.
Alabama outcoached them. They outperformed them, and they got to recruit better. I think LSU, I think coaching was an issue. I also think talent was a separator as well in that game. Alabama was bigger, more physical. I think talent-wise, LSU has a ways to go to get to that elite status consistently. And LSU probably showed us who they truly were a little bit more than we thought they were, because they had won a couple close games. And Ole Miss was a team that showed us that they were a team that had lost a couple they had lost a couple close games versus LSU had won a couple close games.
I'm interested in the Jalen Milroe we saw Saturday night. You just brought up coaching. Makes coaching look really good when you got the best player on the field. Go back through the other games since the big win over Georgia. Do you think it was health or coaching why we didn't see Jalen Milroe running the ball like that? Or was it just the other team taking that away? Why haven't we seen more of that between Georgia and LSU from Jalen Milroe? What's Roman Harper's thoughts?
I think Alabama's a team that's continuing to figure out who they are, the best version of themselves. Versus Tennessee, they should have did way more of what we just saw them do versus LSU. The fact that you try and throw the ball 40-something times in a rowdy crowd. The hand signals were different, so Alabama did not jump off sides as much. So they weren't starting in the hole as many times on drives. Like, that was a big difference. That's coaching. You look at some of the mismatch and plays that they had designed up for LSU, whether it's the quarterback runs and, we're going to fake it here, but the running back's going to be the lead run guy. Then all of a sudden they run the counter back the other way when LSU tried to adjust to the running back side. That's all coaching and play design and setting your team setting them up to be successful just by purely calling the right play in the right situation and then allowing your players to take over from there. Defensively, I thought Alabama played really well. They played hard. I see things on tape I could talk a million times about. It's very unsound, but hey, it worked. So I don't have anything to say. I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to blow it up when your car's running great on the interstate. But I'm just telling you, it's still some things out there I question at times. But congrats to Alabama. Big win for them. Big win for the program. Big statement win going forward. Really sets them up for the playoff trajectory, because everything we do now going on for the rest of the year, especially in the SEC, it's all about a beauty contest. And so the best looking teams will be the teams that look better at the end and will be the teams that get in and won't get squeezed out of the playoffs. Like a fourth or a fifth SEC team may get squeezed out this year because of the success of the Big Ten and what the committee has told us their opinions are about the Big Ten.
Roman Harper is with us. He joins us each week courtesy of MyBookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND when you sign on MyBookie.ag. Double that initial deposit. Code NEXTROUND to double that deposit at MyBookie.ag. Bray Hubbard has got more playing time for Alabama. He was very good, it appeared, against LSU.
Who's the first guy that said, "Hey, I feel fine because the Hubbard kid's pretty good"?
That was Roman Harper. When I asked Roman Harper, and I was thinking about this in the game, Hart, because I remember, 𝐒𝐓𝐀𝐄𝐌𝐄𝐍𝐓, bad injury for Alabama. I don't know if the defense survives without 𝐒𝐓𝐀𝐄𝐌𝐄𝐍𝐓. They're probably just not even going to play defense without 𝐒𝐓𝐀𝐄𝐌𝐄𝐍𝐓. But you're like, bro, Tap the brakes. This Bray Hubbard kid can play. Just wait till you see him. I mean, and now we're seeing him harping. You were right. That kid can play.
And look, man, things that stand out to me on tape, it's a couple things. When effort, all right, being in the right position, and what are you doing when you get there? How are you trying to affect the ball player and the tackle the ball or get the ball carrier on the ground? And what people don't understand, you can try and break down as much tape as you want, but you can't change the fact that 85% of tackling is want to. How bad you want to get that guy down? How bad are you willing to get on the train tracks in front of a big old train that's running 100 miles an hour? How bad do you want to take that pain and get up and do it again? That young man ain't afraid of it, and he's not creating angles. He's trying to get there in a hurry. And so when I see those things, he stands out to me. He initially flashed on tape. I look back at him. He's a really great athlete coming out of the state of Mississippi, did a whole bunch of different things in high school, and now he's playing secondary and safety. And so I love the fact that he made that really tough catch. That was a really good catch. And then I'm looking at him make some other plays in the run game, communicating. Like I said before, guys, I don't like to toot my own horn too many times unless I'm right. And in this case, I was.
More surprising to you, Alabama goes to Baton Rouge and wins by 19, and that was a little misleading. They won by a lot more than 19. At least it looked that way. Or the fact that Ole Miss dominates Georgia in the rain and wins by 18.
So the closer it got to, the short answer is Ole Miss. Number one, I don't trust Mississippi teams because they always let me down the moment I start to trust them. So you got that factor into it. The other factor is that I thought Ole Miss could win the game. I picked Ole Miss to win the game. Hi, you guys can say hi to Peanut Tillman, everybody.
Peanut Tillman. So
what's up, Peanut?
Yeah, they said hi. I guess you guys. He says he likes Ole Miss, but the quarterback is good.
Okay.
All right. So the thing is that I don't trust the Mississippi teams. They've let me down. I understand that, but I just didn't. I thought Ole Miss could win the game, but I didn't see them winning it in the way they did. And the other thing is that I come out of this game, and I think I have some answers about Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a team that's going to look better on paper as the beauty contest we talk about coming down the stretch. They're a team that's going to look better going down the stretch because they beat Georgia, and they're going to look like a team that's progressing in the right way. A team for me that I come across with so many more questions is Georgia. There's no way I would imagine in the last 10 years that in week 11 or 12, I'm looking at Georgia and I'm being a mirror and making them look at me and giving them the source back is that, what is your identity? And if you couldn't tell me what Georgia's identity is right now for this team. And that is something I didn't think I would have to be able to think or even say for a Georgia team under Kirby Smart, who's been so good the last 10 years. And so that's the one thing that I came out of this weekend that, man, who is Georgia? I thought Alabama going into this game, I was confident about it the last 2 weeks. And the closer I got to this game, I was even more confident. And all I had to say for Alabama is run the football downhill at these boys because you're way bigger than they are up front. That showed. I thought they'd do it with the running back. They did it with the quarterback. That's fine. And then I need the same mentality with Kalen DeBoer and the coaches on the sidelines, getting after guys. Looked like Kalen DeBoer even said a 4-letter word at one point in time. I loved it. Can't wait. And then the last thing was defensively, when Garrett Nussmeier throws you the ball, which he will, catch it. And they did all those things. And when you do that, and I told you guys all year long, I'm not great in Alabama, but on a curve defensively. They held LSU to like less than 40-something% on third down conversions. They held them to a couple field goals early in that game. They didn't let them get touchdowns, and they created turnovers. That's all I cared about. And offensively for Alabama, they were, 11 for 13 or 14 on third down conversions. So they continued to create and convert on third down, and defensively they got off the field.
Yeah, and I agree with you on all of that. Key defensive plays when you had to have them. I mean, that first drive after you score the touchdown, you give up the really great kick return, and then boom, big running play off the edge. You're down to the 5. Yeah. Red zone holds them out. Then that fourth down stop. Then Jihad Campbell gets the strip sack, and you score a touchdown. Then they're going to get back into the game, and you get the loss and interception down in the red zone again. Those are big-time plays, But it's like you're telling me almost I can't relax and say, man, they're going to do this the rest of the time. You keep hinting to me I can't count on this defense. All of a sudden, I'm ready to write a 𝐒𝐓𝐄𝐓𝐄𝐍𝐓, I apologize, Kane, for doubting you email. Should I hold my email and not apologize to Kane yet?
No, you can write it, but I'm telling you, you might just be ready to delete some of it after you write it. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's just some things out there that concern me. I'm just a defensive guy, guys, and I just know what I see. But if the offense don't see it, then it's not our problem, right? Like, and I was always taught from Greg Williams, don't cover the ones that they ain't throwing it to. And so right now, it's some holes out there, some things I'm like, I'm nervous about it. But if they don't find it and they don't throw it, then I guess we don't have to answer those questions.
Well,
the email will be just fine. The email will land great, gracefully.
Then you be
but
quiet.
Don't
you tell anybody about those holes in. Don't you hush. Don't tell anybody about those holes in.
I'm not saying that's what I said. I'm not saying anything. I haven't.
Yeah.
Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you. You know my eyes don't lie to me.
You're gonna get to playoffs and be like, "Hey, Roman, Dan Lanning, how you doing, buddy? Haven't talked to you in a while."
What's up, DM? Yeah. Roman Harper with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. He's presented each week by MyBookie.ag. Code next round to sign on at MyBookie.ag. Code next round, where Tennessee is at Georgia, a 10-point favorite right now, the Bulldogs. And you said you're worried about Georgia. What worries you most? I'll give you a list. You can pick from any of the list. You don't have to limit yourself to one. Their defense, with respect to previous defenses, looks lesser. Okay, maybe average. I don't know if average is a good word.
True statement.
Their offensive line is not good. They cannot protect back.
True.
They don't seem to have playmakers outside.
True.
And
can't run the ball.
Well, they can't run the ball. I think they're okay at running back or good at running back. They can't run because of the offensive line. And then their quarterback's not very good right now. I mean, there's a lot of not very good that I just put in that sentence.
Yeah, I don't even think that was a complete sentence. That's more like a whole bunch of run-on sentences put together and put a question mark at the end. Yes. And so the answer to it all is all of the above. And it's not just one thing. And that's why I'm asking you right now, the most important thing that is like, who is Georgia? What is their identity? In past years, if you asked the Georgia team that, they'd be able to tell you exactly who they are. My identity is this. And so I don't think they do that right now. Defensively up front, they're not as good. There are no Jalen Carters and Jordan Davises up there, along with Nolan Smith and the one guy that's actually number one overall pick. I keep forgetting his name out of everybody. Jalen Walker. All of these guys, and follow behind like Nakobe Dean and the rest of the linebackers. And so that's one group of it. The offensive line is not protected, and you thought that they would be better because they brought back all these starters from last year's team. And Carson Beck is seeing a lot. And if you see a lot in football, that means you see a little. And so he has to continue to get it dialed back in, throwing the football in the right anticipation. He's got to get protected, and the ball has to come out. And right now I feel like he's having to do so much heavy lifting for his whole offense, whether it's getting the protections, the checks, throwing the ball correctly, making sure the receivers get the checks, because a couple of interceptions aren't his fault because the receivers ain't getting the checks. So, and wide receivers need to get open. And here, I'll tell you like this. My issue between the quarterback and the receivers is this, in the offense, is that when Mike Bobo runs this offense, it's a really good offense. It's a pro-style offense. I understand all of that. And the best thing about a pro-style offense is that when the quarterback, you got an NFL-ready quarterback who can throw the ball on time, when your wide receivers can separate, because that's what NFL wide receivers do. But guess what, guys? Not every receiver in college is an NFL wide receiver. So they don't all separate the same. And so when you don't get that separation on the outside, now the quarterback holds it, and then all of a sudden, just the timing and everything else is off. And so if you're not getting that separation naturally by your wide receivers, as a coordinator, you have to create the space and the separation for them. And so that is where I think the change or the light bulb has to go off for this offense. You got to create more space. It's a reason why Hofstra could get space for wide receiver. It's a reason why, you look at a Northern Illinois, like they still get open. It's because they're designing guys to get open offensively. They got to help them out on that side of it. And defensively, you got to just keep playing. And you guys got to communicate more. And they got to understand it's not just about communication on the secondary piece, but it's also about anticipation. if you don't anticipate what the wide receivers are going to be doing, you will always be a step behind. And that is what happened versus Ole Miss. They were always just a step behind.
Better chance at an upset, Arkansas in Fayetteville against Texas or Tennessee on the road in Athens?
So I don't want to sleep on the Arkansas game, but I think Texas defense is better than what everybody gives them credit for, because everybody talks about their offense. And so I think Arkansas will turn the football over, and when Arkansas turns the football over, they lose. And for me, so I would go with Tennessee as the upset to over Arkansas's upset, but I don't think Tennessee and Georgia have similar weaknesses, which is they both struggle to score offensively at times. And I don't know at Athens if, Tennessee has had all their tough games at home. They haven't really, been road warriors, in my opinion. So I'll take Georgia with this one. But I don't know if Georgia can cover 10 points. For all those mybookie.ag guys out there.
10 points. You get it right there at mybookie.ag. Harp says the play is Tennessee getting the 10.
Dogs can win, but maybe not cover.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it, guys.
All right, he is Roman Harper, and we always appreciate his time talking SEC football. You'll see him on the SEC Network and ESPN throughout the weekend. Thank you very much, Harp.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you guys always. Right here in the iHeart Radio studio. Shout out to them here in Atlanta. So thank you guys. They're hosting me and Peanut for our NFL Players Second Acts podcast. So thank you. We're bringing out some bangers this week, so it's going to be good.
Hey, and thank Peanut again for helping defenses eliminate 20-yard runs downfield, because it becomes the most popular play now. Punching that thing out. It happens almost every game.
Punching the ball.
Yeah.
It's, you know what? He just name dropped his own play earlier in the podcast. I'm like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's like talking in third person. Like, he's like, my peanut punch. I'm like, that is you. You can't just – I know everybody else says it, and he gets all the credit for it. He was amazing at it. I give it to him. But, he just dropped the third-person party of the peanut punch himself.
Hey, and because it's so popular, you can get a couple of cheap shots in by missing the ball and actually hitting your opponent and not getting flagged for it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was doing the peanut punch. I went in it.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're punching down, you're always safe. When you start going up, I think that's like questionable. Like I think he's trying to hurt now.
Yeah.
Down is fine. Up is different. That's all I'm saying.
Harp, thank you, man. Safe travels.
All right, fellas. Be good. Thank you.
Buddy. We'll see you. Roman Harper joins us each week, courtesy of mybookie.ag. As he said, you can find that Georgia-Tennessee game however you like it. Harp thinks that's maybe a little too rich. Georgia favored 10 in that game. Auburn still a 24-point favorite over Louisiana Monroe Saturday. MyBookie.ag, code next round to play those. Code next round is important because it gets you double your initial deposit. You make that first deposit, they're going to double it with code next round at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round.